believe we've been acquainted.
Don't be a fool. We go way back. We met amongst the tall trees. Remember?
Again, this is Jada on Secrets in the Shadows. And today, again, we are discussing Late Night with the Devil. Probably now up there in one of my favorite horror films. So Late Night with the Devil centers a TV show host, Jack Delroy, who seems to be getting desperate for viewers. His talk show is a late night talk show that was once thriving, and unfortunately now his ratings are struggling. Jack, who doesn't want to lose his show, makes a decision to bring a woman on the show who wrote a book called Conversations with the Devil, then decides to have her do an entire exorcism on live television, which is all occurring on Halloween night. As we all know, in the year 2000, Alex Jones broke into this Bohemian Grove and exposed footage of what looked like some kind of ritual in a documentary called Dark Secrets Inside the Bohemian Grove. But this is no huge secret in the movie, as it is literally referred as the Grove. Alex Jones showed us that they were worshiping this large owl. Very, very coincidental that the late night show on this movie is called Night Owls. Themes in the movie include demonic forces making sacrifices for fame and fortune, MK Ultra, and of course the consequences of what could happen when you make a deal with the devil. And now let's dive into what exactly happens on this late night special. So Jack has a clairvoyant on, and the psychic mentions Jack's dead wife's nickname, Minnie, as he's convulsing on live television and his eyes were rolling to the back of his head. Obviously, this caught Jack's attention, so Jack begins to think something else is happening here, as the guy said Minnie wanted to get a message out. Jack and Minnie were once happily married until she was diagnosed with cancer. They even had her on the show before she died, and this episode happened to get the most ratings. So then Jack brings out the skeptic, which was really, really interesting. This skeptic is basically claiming that it's all fake and makes the argument that illusions can be created to manipulate people's perception, which is true. But Jack himself says the psychic mentioned a name that was private between him and his dead wife, thus making the argument that the psychic might actually be telling some kind of truth. So the psychic attempts to further prove his point, and he ends up coughing up all this black stuff, and eventually this man dies later that night. Jack brings on a parapsychologist on the show whose name is June. Lily is basically with this parapsychologist, June, because of the fact that she was rescued from a cult. So Lily is a kid who now basically has the ability to channel a demonic entity, which she calls Mr. Wriggles. This is in reference to demonic possession and how it works, as the demon Wriggles basically wiggles into Lily's body. So they facilitate this exorcism. And Lily, well, let's say Mr. Wriggles at this point, Lily's demon, immediately says that she and Jack know each other. Things seem to be getting really intense. But the skeptic even thinks himself that Jack is doing this all just for publicity. That is until Lily, or Mr. Wriggles, whatever you want to refer it as, levitates into the air with lightning coming out of her all around her. And everybody in the audience at this point, of course, is running around screaming, going crazy. And then it, of course, fixates on Jack again. Now let's get into this ending, because that is one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this podcast. So the ending shows the spirit of Madeline, what was sacrificed in order for him to have his wealth and fame. Maybe Madeline's message is to show him that it all wasn't worth it in the end. Or maybe it was just to show Jack that even after life, she is still suffering. But she eventually asks Jack to take her out of her misery. And as Jack is holding her in his hands, he decides to do it. As he says over and over again, dreamer here, awake. Dreamer here, awake. But you can hear the sirens in the background as Jack continues to look around at the disaster that was once his legacy. And if you are looking to watch it, it is of course available on Shudder. But I definitely think it did a good job in regards to it being a horror movie. It definitely served its purpose. And we out.